Jisoo liked a popular post. Is the love in student days never to be forgotten? The poster also included a selfie of a girl. I recognized at a glance that the person in the photo was Hwayu Chuyen from our university department. She is also Jisoo's first girlfriend. I turned over and looked at Jisoo, who was facing away from me. Now he is my husband. My husband, and I just ended our relationship 5 minutes ago. The charming atmosphere filling the room has not dissipated yet. At this time, he was sleeping with me in the same bed. But he missed his student sweetheart in his heart. 01. Jisoo and Yu Chuyen had a great love in school. When they were separated, they hated Hai Qingtian even more. Almost all of our professionals are witnesses of their love. Me too. Many years after graduation, the small group in my dormitory occasionally still regretted their love. People who have witnessed their love. It seems that the past is more difficult to forget than the person involved. I stared at Jisoo's sharp and angular back, my thoughts gradually letting go. Has the season sequence really been put down? After thinking about it for a long time, I felt sour in my heart. Ji's phone screen turns dark in the room. He turned around and hugged me into his arms, his voice low and hoarse. Not sleepy yet? I found a comfortable position in his arms and said, I haven't washed up yet. Jisoo was naked, and his breathing became hot when he heard the words. I can clearly feel the change. When the season enters. My arm struggled to reach out, trying to turn off the light. He pinched my wrist and gradually accelerated his movements. There was a nasty tease in his tone. I love looking at your expression. The temperature inside the house rises. After several pulls, I was defeated. All that came out of his throat were broken sounds. Jisoo met my eyes. At this moment, his eyes clearly reflected my face. I couldn't help but cling to his neck. Let him do whatever he wants. I woke up the next day with back pain. Both legs were so sore that I couldn't use any strength. Jisoo is no longer with me. His cell phone was on silent, but the screen kept flashing on the bedside table. He is very busy, but he rarely brings his work home. When he is at home, he only spends his time with me. I never checked his phone either. I clenched my fists and felt the wedding ring on my ring finger squeezing my phalanges. Finally, I couldn't help but lean forward and picked up his cell phone. The latest message contains only one sentence. Aksu, can we meet? My breath hitched. The discomfort in my heart made me more and more panicked. Message from an unknown number. The tone was so intimate. Apart from Yu Chuyen, I think there is no one else. My first reaction was to delete the message. But I stared at this message for a long time and put down the phone. Trying to cover up, deceiving oneself and others is totally boring. Why should I? The moment I put down my phone, Jisoo opened the door and walked in. When he saw me, he raised one eyebrow, smiled playfully, and said, Get up so early? I pretended to be calm and cleared my throat and said, Jisoo walked up to me in a few steps and kissed my forehead. That's right, get up and have breakfast. Jisoo is almost a perfect husband. He makes money, takes care of his family, and is handsome. After he coaxed me to change my clothes, he turned to his side and picked up his cell phone. The moment the phone screen lights up, I secretly caught a glimpse of Jisoo's beautiful eyebrows knitting together. Then it stretched out again. After pressing the screen with his long fingers a few times, he put down the phone. Jisoo took my hand and went downstairs to have breakfast. There are two distinct types of breakfast on the dining table. I had soy milk and white porridge, and his had iced American style and sandwiches. Just like the two of us at this moment. I wore a comfortable and loose floral nightgown. He was wearing a smart shirt and trousers. He seemed to be in a particularly good mood throughout breakfast. There was a faint smile on his lips. I didn't know what to eat, so I kept secretly looking at the sequence of seasons. He rarely fiddles with his mobile phone while eating. Today I have been staring at my phone. Fingers kept flying across the screen. Seems to be replying to the message. Dear O2. I suppressed the soreness in my throat and smiled. Jisoo, what do you want to eat tonight? Just as Jisoo drank the last sip of coffee, he suddenly looked up at me. Shing, I have a dinner party tonight. I can't have dinner with you. An expected answer. I pursed my lips and nodded. As usual, Jisoo hugged and kissed me and went out to the company. There is still a clear breath surrounding me. Jisoo Zadilis Vapefum. I stood at the entrance and watched Jisoo close the door and leave. I know this time is different from before. He is going to meet his first love tonight. I returned to the bedroom in a daze, almost lost my temper, picked up my phone, and clicked on Jisoo's Weibo. Refreshing downwards over and over again, Jisoo never posted any new updates except for the likes last night. I breathed a sigh of relief, and suddenly felt a little self-deprecating. Many years ago, I followed Jisoo's Weibo. At that time, many students from University A paid attention to Jisoo. So, until now, he doesn't know that I am one of his fans. When he was in school, he loved to update Weibo since he registered on Weibo in his junior year. Those who play basketball, debate, and give speeches. The photos are taken from other people's angles. But anyone who follows Jisoo knows who took the photo. It is different from the current elegant Jishua. When he was in college, he had a lively and enthusiastic temperament. But at that time, in the dynamics of the season update, there is more emotion. For a long time, Jisoo expressed his sincere and passionate love on Weibo, although he never mentioned Yu Qian's name from beginning to end. But we all know it. Who was given the turbulent love in Jisoo's youth? After graduation, Jisoo will no longer update news. The unruly youthful atmosphere has been gradually smoothed away by society. He became more and more decent and was a decent person in front of and behind him. But for many nights, I secretly envied Yu Qian. She once had the unreserved love that Jisoo had. 03. My roommate Zhang Xiaosong asked me to go to a coffee shop after get off work. She is the only one among my close friends who knows that Jisoo and I are married. When I arrived, there were 2 cups of coffee in front of Zhang Xiaosong. After seeing me, Zhang Xiaosong turned off the screen of his mobile phone and looked a little nervous. I joked like a joke. In love. Zhang Xiaosong twitched the corner of his mouth and smiled a little ugly. How are you and Jisoo doing lately? I looked a little confused, took a sip of coffee, and said, yeah, pretty good. Zhang Xiaosong seemed to be relieved, and his face became much brighter. When she spoke again, her tone revealed some relief. That's good. By the way, Yu Qian is back, did you know? My fingers trembled, and I shook my head. Have no idea. Zhang Xiaosong was about to speak, but when he glanced behind me, his eyes widened. I followed her gaze with some surprise, and turned my head to look back. It's Jisoo and Yu Qian. My eyes met Jisoo's in the sky. He looked surprised for a moment, but he didn't show any panic at all. Yu Qian, on the other hand, had surprise in her eyes, waved to me, and said brightly, Shangshin, long time no see. Yu Qian pulled Jisoo's clothes and walked to our table. Aksu, do you remember? These are my college roommates, Shengsheng and Xiaosong. Oh, long time no see. You haven't changed at all, but Xiaosong, you seem to have gained a little weight. Zhang Xiaosong and I looked at each other, stood up and greeted Yu Qian. I don't know how things turned out. In the end, the 4 of us sat at a table for no apparent reason. Jisoo and I sat across the table. I lowered my head and fiddled with the coffee cup, and I could feel a hot gaze following me above my head. I took a deep breath, raised my head, and looked at Jisoo. Jisoo raised his eyebrows and was about to speak to me. Yu Qian delicately tugged at Jisoo's sleeve and said, Aksu, what are you drinking? Is it still the same as before? Is it American style? Jisoo turned his gaze from my face to the menu and said in a calm tone, I don't drink coffee at night. A trace of discomfort and astonishment flashed across Yu Qian's face, and she said with a lighthearted smile, Oh, the barrister is really different. You also know how to maintain your health. Jisoo twitched the corner of his mouth in disbelief and said, Someone won't let me. I lowered my head suddenly, feeling guilty for some reason. When Jisoo first married me, I discovered that his living habits were very bad. I often drink iced coffee when I work overtime in the middle of the night to sort out cases. Intense mental work, irregular meal times. Jisoo suffered from a very serious stomach problem. That was the first time I got angry with Jisoo after we got married. I accompanied Jisoo in the hospital for infusion, and looking at his pale face, I felt so distressed that I couldn't help but cry. I held the infusion tube and said with a bit of anger in my voice, What will you do if your stomach gets perforated if you continue like this? No more iced coffee except in the morning. Jisoo leaned on the hospital bed and smiled without nodding or shaking his head. But since then, he has never had iced coffee at home except in the morning. 04. Yu Qian stood next to Jisoo, and a trace of surprise flashed across her face when she heard this. She stiffly twitched the corners of her mouth and said, Then don't drink coffee and drink something else. Yu Qian clicked on the menu with her slender fingers and moved towards Jisoo's side. Anyone who sees the scene will feel that the 2 of them are a perfect match. Zhang Xiaosong touched my leg lightly under the table with a questioning expression. I lowered my head and shook my head imperceptibly. I don't know what to say either. My husband accompanied his first girlfriend and I at the same table to catch up on old times. No TV series can write such a bloody plot. While I was still in a daze, I heard Zhang Xiaosong next to me saying with a hint of inquiry, Chu Yan, have you 2 reconciled? Yu Qian pursed her lips with a shy expression. Just as she was about to answer, she was interrupted by Jisoo. No. Yu Qian's smile froze on her face, and then she whispered uncomfortably, No, I just returned to China. Just wanted to catch up with old friends. Jisoo's answer didn't make me breathe a sigh of relief. On the contrary, my heart became more and more sour and unbearable. I stood up and forced a smile. I suddenly feel a little uncomfortable, so I'm leaving first. Talk slowly. I fled towards the door of the coffee shop with eager steps. I only felt that there was a burning gaze behind me that seemed to be following me. As my fingers rested on the cafe door handle, I heard Yu Qian's moderate voice coming into my ears. What happened to Xingxing? It's not like she still likes Asu, right? 05. Her words were accompanied by the cold air outside, which hit me straight into my body. I couldn't hold it in any longer, and tears burst into my eyes. When I opened the door and got into the car, I vaguely heard someone calling my name from behind me. I couldn't help but smile bitterly and drove away from the scene eagerly. The scenery outside the window was speeding, and the rain pattered on the car glass, which was as gloomy as my mood. In college, everyone knew about the love between Jisoo and Yu Chuyen. I have a crush on Jisoo, and no one knows about it except Yu Chuyen and Zhang Xiaosong. I've loved season sequences since high school. If you like someone, you will feel inferior. Compared with the Gloria season, I was too ordinary in high school. Always ranked among the top 10 in the class. His height and appearance are lost in the crowd. Occasionally, I will get a few pimples that are not painful or itchy. It is no exaggeration to say that the season sequence in high school has countless admirers. Among those girls who are full of love, I am one. In order to follow the order of the seasons, I studied desperately. Rankings in the class range from more than 10 to stable top 10, top 5, and top 3. It wasn't until my senior year of high school that I ranked first in the school for the first time. Jisoo's and my names are closely aligned on the score column. I listened to the sincere blessings and envy from the classmates around me who were close friends with me. I secretly turned my eyes to Jisoo. He was lying on the table, holding a basketball in his hand and flapping it gently on the ground. A few boys who had always played well with him glanced at their report cards and joked. It's over, Brother Sue. The perennial #1 throne has been taken away. Jisoo's lazy voice came from the desktop. It doesn't matter. High school boys always have no sense of propriety when joking. Leon put his arm around Jisoo's shoulders and said with a wicked smile, Pretend you're just going to be surpassed by a girl. Are you feeling aggrieved to death? Wang Chensheng, please teach us your experience. How to suppress Jisoo, haha. The eyes in the class glanced at me. I squeezed the gel pen tightly in my hand and was suffocated for a moment. It was the first time that so many people paid attention to me. There were beads of sweat on my palms. I lowered my head and pursed my lips, not daring to respond. What's more, Li Yang's words are somewhat ambiguous. Jisoo stood up abruptly. The movement was a bit large, and the table made a harsh friction sound on the ground as he moved. The joking voice fell silent for a moment. Jisoo looked at Li Yang coldly. I want to hold you down, okay? The roar of laughter echoed throughout the classroom instantly, and no one looked at me anymore. I also followed the gaze of the large army and looked towards Jisoo as if watching a drama. Wearing his school uniform, he leaned against the wall and met my eyes in the air. My pupil shrank, and I didn't expect that Jisoo would look at me. I turned my head to the side suddenly and didn't see Jisoo raise his eyebrows in surprise. Li Yang pretended to be shy and approached Jisoo, blinking. Come on, Brother Sue, be gentle. Jisoo raised the corners of his lips and backed away in disgust. Get out of here, it's disgusting. A group of boys left the classroom laughing and making a fuss. Jisoo was walking behind them. When he went out from the back door, he suddenly turned around and glanced in my direction again. At that glance, I was sure that he was looking at me. 06. The rapid sound of the horn outside the car woke me up from my memories. The next second, I looked at the isolation belt getting closer and closer to me and stepped on the brakes hard. The road was slippery on a rainy day, but the sharp braking sound still failed to control the speed of the car, and the car body crashed into the isolation belt. I was sitting in the car, choked by the inertia of the seat belt, and couldn't breathe. My mind went blank, and my ears were buzzing. The car door was opened by someone outside, and Jisoo's anxious voice pulled me out of my fear. Shengsheng, are you injured? I took a deep breath and shook my head in fear. Jisoo leaned half in, unbuckled his seatbelt, covered me with his coat, and took me out of the car from the knees. When I was put in Jisoo's car, I realized that his car was right behind mine. It seems that the honking outside the car just now was caused by Jisoo watching my car gradually deviate from the road in order to remind me to press it. I sat in Jisoo's car and watched him holding an umbrella outside to deal with my traffic accident. I suddenly wanted to say sorry to him, so I pressed down the car window and heard Jisoo calmly speaking to the other end of the phone. Yes, the owner of the car is my wife. Despite the heavy rain outside the car, those words hit my ears clearly. The originally anxious heart slowly calmed down. After handling the traffic accident, Jisoo got into the car. He reached out and touched my forehead with a worried tone. What's wrong? Why are you so absent-minded? I tightened my seatbelt. I really wanted to ask him why he was here. Shouldn't he reunite with Yu Chuyen tonight after a long absence? Seeing that I didn't speak for a long time, Jisoo started the car and turned on the heater. Go home first. Jisoo doesn't like listening to music while driving, and the shallow breathing of the two of us can be clearly heard in the car. It wasn't until I got home that I discovered that I had left my phone in the car, and the car was towed away by the 4S store. I sighed lowly and turned on the TV out of boredom. When Jisoo brought a cup of hot ginger tea from the kitchen and handed it to me, he raised his eyebrows in surprise. Don't you like watching TV? My legs were curled up on the sofa, and I said willfully, I left my phone in the car. Jisoo chuckled lightly and handed the phone to me from his pocket. Here, play with me. I'm going to get your phone. I took the phone in a daze and put it on the coffee table with some embarrassment. No, I just want to watch some TV. I'll pick up my phone tomorrow. It's too late. Don't go out. It's still raining outside. Jisoo picked up the phone and forced it into my hand. Sheng, I don't find it troublesome. I don't find anything about you troublesome. I held the phone and raised my head to look at Jisoo. The next moment, I was defeated, lowered my head, and pursed my lips. But I think your cell phone is not good. What responded to me was Jisoo's generous palm. His palm caressed the top of my head. We are husband and wife. We have no secrets. It's just a mobile phone. There's nothing we shouldn't look at. Drink the ginger tea while it's hot. I'll go out first. Don't open the door to strangers. After Jisoo changed his shoes and went out, my face was still a little hot, and the joy in my heart almost overwhelmed me. Jisoo said, "We are husband and wife. There is no secret in the first place." Can I take a look at his cell phone? 07. After half a minute of mental preparation, I opened Jisoo's WeChat. The first person you can see pinned to the top is my account. Note, my lover. There was even a heart symbol added at the end. My heart beat uncontrollably again. I never knew that Jisoo put me on the top list, nor did I know that Jisoo had noted such an intimate title for me. The phone swiped across the screen a few times. Jisoo didn't seem to have the habit of deleting chat history. It was densely packed with people working on various cases. But in the past day, there was no information from Yu Chuyen. With my fingers pinched, I clicked on the search box and entered the word metaphor. A blank. This contact does not exist. Could it be that he didn't add a metaphor to Chuyen? After logging out of WeChat, I clicked on Jisoo's message. At a glance, I saw the strange message I saw that morning. Aksu, can we meet? Who are you? I am Yu Chuyen. I have returned to China. Can I meet you if I want to? No. Aksu, it was my fault back then. I really want to explain it to you face to face. Please, okay. Great, Asu. Do you still remember AL.1 Cafe? Let's meet there at 6 p.m., okay? Jisoo didn't reply to her, but Jisoo went to the appointment. I copied Yu Chuyen's mobile phone number and searched it on WeChat, but it still came up blank. They really don't have any friends. Exaggerated laughter came from the TV. I held my phone and felt a little at a loss. I don't know if Jisoo still likes Yu Chuyen. If he does, why is he so cold to Yu Chuyen? If you don't like it, why did you like that Weibo post last night? Thinking of that post, I suddenly wanted to see if Jisoo had contacted Yu Chuyen on Weibo. The thought flashed through my mind, and I laughed to myself. Unexpectedly, I still have the potential to be a detective. I was like a thief, frantically snooping into his privacy during the period allowed by Jisoo. My fingers scrolled through the pages of Jisoo's phone, checking back and forth many times, and my brows knitted together. Jisoo's mobile phone does not have Weibo software, but he clearly liked Yu Chuyen's post just last night. After thinking of a possibility, my heart suddenly felt sour. No wonder Jisoo dared to hand me his phone so generously and let me look at it as I pleased. It seems that he has uninstalled Weibo, so there is nothing shameful about it. I threw the phone aside, suddenly feeling like a clown. It's easy to like. I've liked Jisoo for 10 years, from the first year of high school to now. If it's a loving couple, then it's a perfect ending. But only I know how I persisted in my secret love for so many years. To Jisoo, I might just be an ordinary high school classmate, a college classmate whom I have never met, or a blind date who was introduced to me after graduation. But for me, it was full of sour high school crushes, sneaky college crushes, and all-or-nothing blind dates after graduation. All these years, it was just for him. I don't regret loving him and spending my whole youth. Even our two names appeared on the marriage certificate and were identified by a steel seal. All this has already made me satisfied. However, people are greedy. After getting the season sequence, I wanted to be greedy and get more. I thought Jisoo and I could slowly fall in love over time, and he would slowly fall in love with me. Yu Chuyen's return gave me a heavy blow and shattered me from the illusion. Jisoo's true love is back, and it's time for me to abdicate. From beginning to end, I was just an insignificant NPC. 08. When I got up the next day, Jisoo had already prepared breakfast. After taking just one sip of soy milk, I stood up and left the table. Jisoo chased into the bedroom with fried eggs, a hint of reproach in his eyes. Sheng, are you losing weight again? Breakfast is very important. I was dragging a suitcase and packing clothes when I heard this and looked up in surprise. Jisoo looked at the suitcases spread out on the ground and was stunned for a moment, then returned to normal. Are you going on a business trip? I shook my head and then nodded again. I didn't respond, but just folded the clothes one by one. Jisoo chuckled, his voice still hoarse, as if he had just gotten out of bed. Are you sure or negative? You go and eat, I'll clean up for you. Where are you going and how many days will you be there? Jisoo put the plate on the dressing cabinet, squatted down and sorted the clothes with me. Randomly carrying a cashmere coat, he laughed out loud. It's 30 degrees above zero outside right now, Sheng. Where are you going on a business trip, and do you need to bring such a thick coat? I stubbornly folded the cashmere coat and stuffed it into the suitcase. After swallowing the sour feeling in my throat, I kept moving my hands and said, Seasonal order. Jisoo looked at me adjusting my clothes in a funny way, and after hearing this, he hummed softly. After a long silence, I held the edge of the suitcase and spoke in a low voice but firmly. Let's get a divorce. Almost as soon as I finished speaking, Jisoo answered. I don't agree. Jisoo pulled me up from the ground with a rare cold expression. He pinched my wrist and stared at me closely for a long while before he spoke, with an imperceptible tremor in his voice. Why? I glanced to the side, not wanting to speak, but tears fell heavily. I was too stubborn to speak, and Jisoo was too stubborn to let go of me. The two of us were in the bedroom, facing each other in silence. It wasn't until the cell phone in the living room kept ringing that Jisoo walked out and answered the phone with a frown on his face. The living room was quiet enough that I could hear the exaggerated shouting on the other end of the phone. Hello, are you Jisoo? Jisoo frowned, put the phone away from his ear, and clicked on the speaker. I am. Who are you? The noisy voice echoed rapidly in the living room. Are you the boyfriend of the owner of the cell phone? She fainted suddenly. The emergency contact on the phone is you, and the note is a Sue. Come to the first-year emergency room of the medical university. Jisoo's expression was cold, and his voice was surprisingly cold. I'm not her boyfriend. If she has any problems, please call the police for her. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a moment, and I looked at Jisoo in surprise. I guessed that the phone number was Yu Qian's cell phone. After silence, Yu Qian's weak voice came from the phone. Is it a Sue? Sorry to bother you. I'm fine, cough. I just fainted suddenly, don't worry. Jisoo frowned and said in a cold voice. I'm not worried. Just go see a doctor when you wake up. After Jisoo hung up the phone, I silently retreated into the bedroom. I suspect that Jisoo was mad at me for mentioning divorce. Jisoo strode into the master bedroom and pulled me over, his expression thoughtful but at a loss. Sheng, am I not doing well enough? I don't want a divorce. If there's any problem, we can sit down and work it out. I pursed my lips, wondering why Jisoo was so persistent. Obviously, his first girlfriend returned to China, and they could stay together and fly together. Could it be because of a damn sense of responsibility? Thinking of this, everything seems to be figured out. Just as I was about to speak, the cell phone in the living room rang again. Jisoo closed his eyes, and a rare curse word came out of his mouth. I shrugged helplessly and tugged on Jisoo's clothes. Let me accompany you to the hospital. After all, Chuyen is also my college roommate. She has just returned to China and has no acquaintances around her. If anything happens, we can help. What's more, she is still your first love. I kept this sentence deep in my heart and did not say it out loud. 09. As Jisoo and I drove to the hospital, he said nothing. His profile was angular and his jaw was tight. I grabbed my seatbelt and looked out the window silently, not knowing what to say. After arriving at the emergency room of the hospital, I was relieved to find out that Yu Chuyen fainted due to hypoglycemia. Let Jisoo stay in the infusion room and watch Yu Chuyen while I pay her fee. After paying the deposit, I went out and bought a dessert for Yu Chuyen and a cup of iced coffee for Jisoo. After thinking about it, I brought myself a cup of iced coffee. The moment I took the coffee into my mouth, I frowned. What is the difference between this thing and drinking Chinese medicine? Jisoo's life has been too sweet since he was a child, so he is so self-inflicted and likes to drink such bitter things. Standing behind the door of the ward, I saw Yu Chuyen holding the hem of Jisoo's clothes through the glass with a weak expression. I felt pity for her. Aksu, I'm lucky to have you. The only relative I have in the city is you. Jisoo stood aside, and I could only see his back. Family refers to people who are connected by blood and treat each other sincerely. You, and I don't need such high-level words. Yu Chuyen frowned, and tears flowed out of her eyes. Aksu, are you still unwilling to forgive me? I also had difficulties back then. Yu Chuyen mentioned the past and her difficulties again, which aroused my curiosity. I only know that when she graduated, Yu Chuyen suddenly wanted to go abroad. The day she and Jisoo broke up made everyone known, and Jisoo didn't even come to take graduation photos. But none of us know the real reason why they broke up. I was outside the door, too nervous to breathe loudly. I know eavesdropping is bad, but I'm really curious. Jisoo sneered and said, Yu Chuyen, so many years have passed. Why do you always hold on to the past? Do you think I still care about that past? Please delete me from your emergency contacts and stop troubling my life. Jisoo turned around to leave. Yu Chuyen struggled to get off the hospital bed and tightly held Jisoo's waist. Aksu, I beg you, can you listen to my explanation? I really know I was wrong, I beg you. Don't leave me, I love you, Asu. Jisoo frowned, and when he stretched out his hand to pry Yu Chuyen's fingers apart, his eyes met with mine, who was unable to dodge outside the ward. I waved awkwardly, turned the door handle, and walked in. Chuyen, I bought you some desserts. I'll put them here first. You two get busy first. Then I'll leave first. Jisoo squinted his eyes and squeezed out 2 words through his teeth. Stop. Jisoo threw away Yu Chuyen's hand, stepped forward and grabbed my wrist, and stared at me with a smile on his face. I'm being harassed here. Do you want us to do our work first? I shrank my neck, unable to lift my head under the pressure of Jisoo's momentum. Then I thought about what I was embarrassed about, so I straightened my back and stared at Jisoo with big eyes and small eyes. Jisoo laughed angrily, bent his index and middle fingers, pinched my cheek, and pulled it slightly. Okay, Wan Chansheng, now that you have become more capable, you still know how to glare at me? I covered my face and stepped back. The moment my back touched the wall of the ward, I shivered. Yu Chuyen fell down on the bed, looking unkindly between Jisoo and me. Shangsheng, you too. Yu Chuyen didn't finish half of her words, but the doubts in her tone were too obvious. I was about to open my mouth to explain, but Jisoo pulled me over impatiently, held me in his arms, and said to Yu Chuyen, Let me introduce you. My wife, Wan Chansheng. Yu Chuyen's eyes widened suddenly, and she stood up from the bed, with a stiff smile on her lips. Aksu, are you kidding? Jisoo glanced at Yu Chuyen with a half smile. Do you need me to show you the marriage certificate? Okay, let's go. You can recover. Jisoo didn't even give him a chance to speak. He hugged me and left the ward. The moment the door closed, I turned around and saw Yu Chuyen's gloomy face. 10. While sitting in the car, I couldn't help but ask, why do you treat Yu Chuyen with this attitude? Jisoo put one hand on the steering wheel and glanced at me with a smile. You seem to care about our relationship. I silently shrank back, leaned on the back of the chair, and muttered unconvincedly, is the love you had as a student forever unforgettable? Jisoo braked the car and parked the car in a parking space on the roadside. He unbuckled his seatbelt and leaned half over, getting very close to me. Did you fall in love when you were in school? Oh my God, what a villain. And beat him up. I immediately stared and said, this is the Weibo you liked. What does it have to do with me? Confusion flashed in Jisoo's eyes. What Weibo? I almost laughed out loud. I never thought that Jisoo would lie. He never told a lie when he was in school. When he wanted to skip the evening self-study, he directly told a class teacher that he had to play basketball and would not attend the evening study. As a result, he was punished by the head teacher and had to stand for 3 nights. I didn't expect that he would lie to me about this little thing. I took out my phone from my bag, opened Weibo, clicked on Jisoo's homepage, and held up the phone in front of him to show him. See for yourself. You have posted on Weibo for so many years. How dare you say that this person is not you? The next second, I heard Jisoo's firm voice. It's not me. The evidence was overwhelming, yet Jisoo denied it without blushing or a heartbeat. I gritted my teeth, scrolled down Weibo, and kept mumbling. On June 15th, 2022, the day you and Yu Chuyen broke up, you posted a Weibo message. I hope you are safe. On January 1st, 2022, New Year's Day, you posted a Weibo. May you and I be like this every year. The accompanying picture is a photo of Yu Chuyen making a wish on the cake. On October 7th, 2021, National Day, you posted another Weibo post, seeing all the great rivers and mountains of the motherland with you. March 29th, 2021, your birthday, is also the day when you and Yu Chuyen officially fall in love. I read that Weibo post sourly. You said that day that I was lucky to have you by my side in my ordinary life from now on. Jisoo leaned on the car seat, listening to me reading Weibo with an unpredictable expression, with an imperceptible smile on his face. The more I read about it, the angrier I get. When I think about my secret love that no one knew about when I was in college, when Ji Shujing and Yu Chuyen expressed their love all over the world, I want to cry. I looked up at Jisoo and saw that he couldn't hold back his smile. Out of fear, I suddenly stretched out my hand and pinched the soft flesh around Jisoo's waist and twisted it left and right. Jisoo gasped in pain. Sheng, let go. You think this is something I can write? Sheng, you are also studying law. Please analyze it yourself and see what is wrong with this Weibo. I looked into Jisoo's eyes, which were so clear and quiet that I could see to the end. I calmed down and analyzed these Weibo posts in detail. Finally, I found clues. There has never been a selfie of Jisoo in this Weibo. They were all taken by him. Even the first Weibo was posted when we were in our junior year, that is, after Yu Chuyen and I continued to date. The mystery in my heart gradually opened up, and I almost laughed out loud in disbelief. Yu Chuyen has been directing and acting for so many years, and has made up a Weibo preface to the season. No wonder I haven't posted anything on this Weibo since I graduated from my senior year. Because Yu Chuyen no longer has any latest news about Jisoo. Jisoo saw my expression of sudden realization, put his fingers on the corners of his lips, and chuckled. After hearing Jisoo's laughter, I wanted to hold back my tears, but as I held in my tears, they turned into big teardrops and fell down. When I cried, Jisoo's originally playful expression finally became panicked. He handed me the paper again, wiped my tears again, and spoke softly like coaxing a child. Stop crying, I was wrong. Shing, please stop crying, okay? Broken jar, broken jar, broken jar, broken pot. Already exposed to his ugly appearance, I was completely shattered, sat in the car, and burst into tears. You just like Yu Chuyen. She's back. Why don't you divorce me quickly? Jisoo, are you planning to have an extramarital affair? You're a lawyer. You don't know how to break the law, do you? I sat in the car crying and howling and told him all about my crush on him since high school. I studied hard to get into the same university as you. I also asked others about what school and major you applied for. I actually don't like the law major at all, but I'm one of your college classmates for 4 more years. When you were in your junior year, I wrote a love letter to you on your birthday and asked Yu Chuyen to give it to you. But the next day you were with Yu Chuyen. Jisoo, you are not a human being. You accepted my love letter and still fell in love with my roommate, you scumbag. You still use the basketball I gave you to play basketball every day, woo. That basketball was signed by your favorite star. I spent several years of New Year's money to find someone to buy it from outside at a high price. You pay me the New Year's money, Jisoo, woo. After I cried to the limit, I almost lost my breath because of my sobbing. Only then did I realize that Jisoo hadn't said a word since I don't know when. Maybe he was scared by me, or maybe he thought I was too embarrassed. Covering my face with my hands, I secretly looked at Jisoo's expression through my fingers. Unexpectedly, Jisoo was staring at me closely, with emotions I couldn't understand in his expression. 11. After a long time, I heard Jisoo's hoarse voice say, "I'm sorry, Xingxing, I never knew. You have liked me for so many years." I pursed my lips, realizing later that I was embarrassed. Jisoo let out a long sigh, held my chin, and suddenly kissed me. The kiss was lingering and long. When Jisoo let go of me, I gasped for breath. Jisoo rubbed my swollen lips, and there was a richness in his eyes that couldn't be dispelled. "Xingxing, I never knew about the things you did." "Hell, let me tell you, Yu Chuyen doesn't even know which team Iverson is on. How could she give me a basketball signed by the star?" My eyes immediately widened, and I struggled to explain. "That's what I gave you. I gave it to you." Jisoo's eyes flashed with fierceness, and he curled his lips and sneered. "Xingxing, do you know why Yu Chuyen and I broke up back then?" I puffed at my cheeks, rolled my eyes a little, and muttered, "She wants to go abroad, and you want to stay at home." Jisoo rubbed the wedding ring on his left hand, narrowed his eyes, and said, "Because she is pregnant." I suddenly turned my head to look at Jisoo, my chest rising and falling rapidly. You two have a child?" "Not mine. It belongs to Zhang He." Zhang He? I was frantically searching for this name in my mind, and then my mouth opened wider and wider, and I exclaimed in disbelief. "Yu Qian's boyfriend during her freshman year? The guy from the finance department." "That's not right. Wasn't he dropped out of school in his sophomore year? Wasn't he sentenced? How could Yu Qian be pregnant with his child? That's not right. Didn't they break up long ago?" A series of questions came out of my mouth. Jisoo combed his hair and restarted the car. "I think the two of us need to have a good talk." With a lot of questions, Jisoo and I went home. When we got home, we pulled Jisoo and sat on the sofa, sitting upright and waiting for him to speak. Jisoo sat on the sofa with his legs crossed and told me the story of him and Yu Chuyen for the first time. When Jisoo was a freshman, he met Zhang He on the court because of playing basketball, and they quickly became good friends. On weekdays, he played basketball and went to dinner parties outside the school. Zhang, he had just fallen in love with Yu Chuyen at that time, and he took Yu Chuyen with him almost every time. After going back and forth, Jisoo and Yu Chuyen also became familiar with each other. When Jisoo knew that Yu Chuyen and I were roommates, he took the initiative to tell Yu Chuyen. Wang Chanxing and I were high school classmates, and she was quite nice. Yu Chuyen looked nervous at that time, looked around, and then quietly said, "She has a bit of a weird temper. I don't have a good relationship with everyone in our dormitory." Jisoo didn't take it seriously at the time. He even chuckled and defended me. "She has that kind of introverted personality. In high school, she didn't have a particularly close relationship with our classmates." Yu Chuyen shook her head and hesitated for a long time before speaking. "No, her house is quite messy. Her parents are not the original wife. She seems to be an illegitimate daughter. Her father seems to be quite rich, and her mother seems to be a massage girl, not a serious one." These few words instantly ignited the atmosphere at the dinner table, and everyone at the table started discussing my gossip. 12. Yu Chuyen was surrounded by everyone and often gossiped about me at the dinner table. With her carefree personality, she quickly got along with a group of boys. I was stunned in place, suddenly thinking that when I was a freshman, Yu Chuyen and I went downstairs together, and her boyfriend and several brothers were waiting for her outside the girls' dormitory. When they saw me, those boys secretly teased me with malicious looks. I slapped my hand on the coffee table and was so angry that I went crazy. Why are my parents not the original couple? Why did my mother become a shady massager? My mother is the most famous physical therapist in the country. Say it again. What's wrong with my dad being rich? I messed with whoever I messed with. Jisoo rubbed my palms distressfully and hugged me on his lap. "I know, we are high school classmates, and I know a little bit about your family's affairs. I explained it to you at the time." I pursed my lips and glared at Jisoo. "You know that Yu Chuyen is lying outside and saying such vicious and unpleasant things, but you still fall in love with her?" Jisoo sighed helplessly. "At first, I was quite annoyed with Yu Chuyen. She has such a flamboyant personality and arranges the people she sleeps with. I almost don't even talk to her. But her sophomore year, she saved my grandpa's life. I'm so grateful to her. Without her, my grandfather might not be alive that day." I know what Jisoo said, and it is also the main responsibility for Zhang He's sentencing. Jisoo's family was rich. After he passed the driver's license test in his freshman year and studied at a local university, his family bought him a car so that he could often go home for meals. The expensive Big G has attracted the favor of many boys in school, and his car is often lent out for driving. Zhang He borrowed the most and often took Yu Chuyen out to play. Jisoo has always been informal, and he never refuses a friend's offer to lend him a car. Until that time, Zhang He and a few friends from society were racing on the mountain road. The streetlights on Huanshan Road are not as bright as the urban streets, and the visibility at night is not good. Zhang He didn't slow down at the turn even though he was accelerating hard. He hit an old man who was walking at night on the spot. Afterwards, Zhang He was afraid, abandoned the car, and ran away. On the way, he also called Yu Chuyen. Yu Chuyen was so frightened in the dormitory that she didn't know what to do, so she called Jisoo. When the season sequence arrived, the old man who was hit was also taken away by 120. After arriving at the hospital, Jisoo learned that the old man who was hit was his grandfather. Fortunately, the rescue was timely and the old man saved his life. Jisoo and his parents later came to our girls' dormitory downstairs and bought a lot of things for Yu Chuyen. They thank her for helping call 120 to call the police. After Zhang He was sentenced, Jisoo often took Yu Chuyen to complete group assignments because he was grateful to Yu Chuyen. It wasn't until my junior year, on Jisoo's birthday, that Yu Chuyen took my love letter and my carefully prepared birthday gift to confess to Jisoo. The two naturally fell in love. Before graduating from our senior year, our majors thought that the two of us broke up in a big way because of the issue of going abroad. But no one knew that Yu Chuyen had secretly gotten together with Zhang He, who had just been released from prison and got pregnant. Hearing this, I spoke sourly. How do you know she is pregnant with Zhang He's child? Jisoo raised his